From a geopolitical perspective, obviously, like all these countries around the world aren't just going to roll over and say, actually, everyone in my country can just transact in dollars, and that's all fine.
Some of them might. Some of them might.
So this is the question, just from a geopolitical economic perspective. The question I sort of ask is this going to be like the rise of the internet in earlier stages, where kind of the connectivity lit up, and then all of a sudden people are like, oh my God, I have global free communications, and I can just do it directly through my computer and then my mobile device, and I'm no longer bound by, as it were, like the rules of the regulated communication system in Italy or in pick your country, or like the borderless nature. It happens. People opt in to a new information system, a new communication system, a new commerce system. Will that rise happen, and people around the world just say the utility value is so high, I'm voting with my smartphone, I'm going to participate in this economic system, say the crypto dollar economy, and is it just going to be so powerful that the governments actually, even if they try to stop it, that their citizenry will say, screw you. I mean, that's sort of happened, and those fault lines in areas like communications and censorship and other things have obviously gone different ways in different countries. And I'm very interested to hear both of your thoughts on the geopolitical and political economic implications of this over time, in particular.
I think this will be very disruptive to the extent that there will be regimes that actually topple as a result of this technology, much more so than any other technology we've seen over the past 20 years. It will be a bumpy road, and I think that this technology, there's one kind of view here that this just is a border, kind of on the fringe technology, and then there's another that becomes a lot more pervasive in some of these countries. But what's clear to me is that the dollar is definitely the apex predator of fiat currencies. And there's really an insatiable appetite for dollars internationally. And so you see this reflected, you look no further than just the yield that you can get on some of these centralized platforms to reflect some of that demand there. Yeah. And there's other studies that you can look at, some of just the on the ground Craigslist style transactions that are happening where individuals are just trying to get US dollar exposure. So I think the dollar as a savings technology actually is a use case here. Where we'll start to see, in how that gets regulated, I'd imagine that we'll start to see some serious clampdowns at the on-ramps in some of these countries.
Yeah. We just launched yesterday with Ripio in Argentina and Brazil. Like, they have a USDC product. You can go from local currency into it. You can generate a 6% yield. It's a seamless experience. You can convert into Mercado Pagos, which is the Amazon of Latin America. So if you need to buy goods, you can do that too. And like, that's pretty attractive,
Super attractive. I guess the question is, does it collaborate or does it compete with the local fiat currencies in these areas? And I think that's where the tension will arise. But part of me really thinks that the genie is out of the bottle here, in the sense that there will be ways to get exposure to this, whether it's through a regulated on-ramp or whether it's through meet someone on the street and do a local Bitcoin style transaction, but you're getting access to dollars. And people will seek out whatever kind of savings technology is best. And I do think that this fits into that category of being a great savings technology, maybe to complement things like Bitcoin, which are obviously much more volatile.
Yeah. I mean, same feelings here. We feel that it's going to be very disruptive. The states probably have a certain ability to fight back and try and discourage their citizens from using crypto dollars, but there have been plenty of cases historically where they've capitulated when their populace has said, we don't trust your monetary direction, and we're going to spontaneously opt for an alternative. Mm-hmm. And that's always been the dollar. You've had top-down dollarization, bottom-up dollarization. Ecuador in the early 2000s was a bottom-up dollarized situation. What has impaired or inhibited other dollarization movements, Zimbabwe is a great example. Argentina is another example, is that you had to hold physical dollars. In Venezuela as well. Actually, this is a massive hindrance to the dollarization in Venezuela right now. There's not enough small bills. So you have big bills circulating. It's hard to get smaller change.
Right.
So it's more challenging. In Zimbabwe, the state was able to kind of arrest the dollarization to a certain extent because there was just a shortage of physical dollars. It's hard to get them in. They didn't have a lot of kind of trade relationships with the US. That's why dollarization's been easier in Latin America. But if you do it in a virtual way, it solves a lot of those problems. You don't have those issues with denomination. You don't have the issue with dollars being captured by large financial institutions necessarily. Like in Argentina, you had the corralito. Those were dollars in bank accounts that were suddenly, withdrawals were ceased overnight. And then the peso depreciated against the dollar. Those dollars that people thought that they had access to got trapped.
Right.
Now, if it's a bearer style asset, now you don't have to rely on a bank to hold it. It's your own property, effectively. The government doesn't have these high leverage tools to inhibit that dollarization. So it's a much more organic, much more distributed phenomenon. So it seems really different. And it seems like the dollarization events here will be more successful. So that's absolutely our view. And it'd be hard to forecast exactly the trajectory there. You can probably name some candidate states where there's a high level of crypto penetration, a high level of mobile penetration, good internet, tech savvy individuals, high inflation rates.
Right.
Those would be the candidate places you'd say, wow, within the next 5-10 years, I expect something to happen here.
Yeah.